How's it going, everyone? I am back for wave 2 this afternoon. Man, this morning was bananas. So for those of you who know why I'm doing this live, we launched Garden Geckos on Kickstarter this morning. We're doing quite well. We are at $18,000 on a goal of 11,268 backers thus far. So can't complain about that. That's a great start. And this morning we went through the campaign. I'm going to go through the campaign. I'm going to share the page. I'm going to show some stuff as we go through this afternoon as well. And of course, get my thank yous out of the way, and we'll talk about that. But man, it's been a whirlwind. Anyone's gone through Kickstarter campaign, what you'll find is the first half a day is just like stuff is flying at you like crazy, and it's this huge onslaught, and it is overwhelming, right? But thankfully I had everything prepped and ready to go. Not too many hiccups. I knew with the first player marker, there'd be people that would say, hey, I'm not sure. Do I add it? Do I not add it? It's kind of the way it's set up. It's not perfect, the way the system works it, but essentially you get this first player marker for free if you back within the first, if you're day one backer, which is the first 72 hours. And there's no real way to do that other than the way we did it, which just says you get it for free. If you back in the first day. People who add it will end up giving it credit to when we get into the pledge manager. Those who don't add it will just add it onto their pledge during the pledge manager. So rest be assured, people will get their first player markers for free if they back within the first day, and I'm going to show you what those look like in a second. But it is it's been crazy. Another thing we found was I had one backer reach out to me just saying, hey, the rules in your book look like they are not the latest because it's missing the solo rules. So that was very kind of them to point that out, and I got that corrected right away. So now the book that you download on the page certainly has the most recent rules. So there we are, my friends. If you are, give me a thumbs up if you are watching live. I'm using Lula TV here. It doesn't look like anybody's joined us yet. We'll see. I know it's been a little glitchy with TikTok. I tried to relink in TikTok earlier before I went live because right now it's when I cut the feed that I'll see that, oh, there's 100 people that joined the live, but I can't see any of them on this end. None of the chats or anything show up. The chats will show up if it's Instagram, but TikTok, no bueno. So let's get into the campaign and talk about Garden Geckos. I'll give you kind of an overview of the campaign page. So again, I just want to say it's been very humbling to get this kind of response this quickly. We're prepared. We thought it would fund in the first day. Funding in 2 hours was a little bit faster than we expected, so that was good news. This game is essentially a hex tile laying game where you are trying to connect patterns of terrain. Have your geckos span those patterns so you can kind of mark which terrains that you're kind of claiming. At the same time, there's bugs that are in the middle of these hex tiles, and you're trying to connect the different bugs with your geckos to form chains and patterns. And then there's a market of communal objectives that you're racing to try to get to first. In addition to that, you can also score by fully surrounding a hex tile. If you have the most geckos that are touching that hex tile, then the bug that's in the center of it, you get one of those bugs from the central supply. Bugs are worth 1 point in this game, whether they're a physical meeple like these guys here, or if it's a bug that's on the bottom of a card, like there. So if you have bugs on the bottom of the card, those are worth 1 point each. So as we go through the game, so it is 1 to 6 players. Somebody actually pointed that out as well because we still had 2 to 6 players. Kickstarter is a bit glitchy. Sometimes you'll update the page and then you think the updates kind of take and then they don't, right? And a perfect example of that is this morning I was going through the different reviews from reviewers, and Unfiltered Gamer, his video was there, but his quote just was gone. So I was able to, Uezo, welcome. So I was able to get that up really quickly. So day one incentive, as I said, there's these first player markers, which are metal, and it's free if you back in the first day. Here's what they look like. So they're metal. They're quite robust, and they act as a first player marker or a pin that you can attach to your shirt, purse, game bag, satchel, whatever you want to attach it to. One thing we are going to take a poll of probably later today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. It's a good way to get a lot of people to comment on the page. Are we going to do pins like this? So physically anchors to your whatever you're attaching it to, or to go with this, which is a magnetic. So again, it still attaches to your shirt, but if you want to attach it to, say, like a game bag, that's a little bit, hey Samantha, that's something that you might want to consider the pins because they might stay fixed better. So we'll take a poll on this. If you're in the chat, give me a vote. Do you think it should be pins or should we go magnetic for this first player marker? The positive of the magnetic is it lays flat on the table like a first player marker. So if you don't want to use that as a pin, you don't have to. This one here, if it lays on the table, it's going to be clear that it's a pin you're using as a first player marker. However, there's very low chance it's going to fall off whatever you attach it to because you got pins that are anchoring it. So that's the first player marker. We've got tons of meeples in this game, as you can see. I believe we have 72. We'll get to that in a second. I love Board Game Rundown's quote. Theirs was that they just thought this game was freaking fantastic, which is awesome. It's been very, very pleasant to see the feedback from the reviewers. It's all been positive. I think this is the first game we've done where it's been unanimously positive. There's usually someone that doesn't like something in the games we do. You can't please everybody, but in this case, everyone seems to be on the same page that they like the game, which is awesome. And they love the table presence, the meeples, how clean it is. I just updated Tabletop Tolson. We just added to the Kickstarter page today. And that was her quote. She's like, this is so clean, the way this plays, right? And the analogy gave is it reminded her a little bit of, in terms of play style, like a Sagrada or Lanterns. So where you are playing your game, trying to go for a communal objective. You're not really attacking other players and things like that. Sure, you can try to grab an objective before they do. But in terms of player interaction, it's not one of these kind of nasty type games. It's more Euro style. The game comes with very nice hex tiles. So these are nice and thick. The artwork is purposely done in a way that each pattern that you're trying to match is distinctly different than everything else that's in the game. So that when it's on a board and you have 60 of these laid out, you can still kind of see what, what's connected and where your geckos are. Objective cards, we got 42 of these. And I'll give you an example of the cards. So they're going to either be bug objectives, and this is where if your geckos are touching each of those bugs, you would be able to collect this particular card and get the points at the bottom. Or if it's a terrain card, it's going to be like this. And your geckos have to span those different patterns simultaneously in order to be able to collect this card. Now, the one thing I will say about objectives in this game is it's not like if a card comes up and it's and you've already achieved it, that you can grab that card. You have to contribute on your turn towards the card that you're claiming, and that way it's fair, because it really sucks when you're playing a game and someone just miraculously starts scoring points because they just happen to be lined up with whatever's turned up. So in this game, you have to contribute to the objective that you're claiming. Chelsea, welcome back. Board Games After Dark, one of our reviewers. Oh man, and check out her channel; it's fantastic. At Board Games After Dark. I believe we shared one of your posts today as well, one of your stories. So thanks again for your support on this game. The hidden objective cards, which there's 12 of, is two of these are dealt to at the beginning of the game to each player. The player chooses which one they want. They give the other one back, and that stays hidden until the end of the game. Now, it's going to be one of two different types of objectives. It's either going to be a bug objective like this. If it's a card like this at the end of the game, so if you had this one, which is the moth, every physical moth meeple you have at the end of the game, you get a bonus 2 points. Or if you happen to have a moth on your card at the bottom, So down here, not up here, but down here, you get 2 bonus points for every bug that's at the bottom of your card that matches your secret objective. In this case, a moth. If your secret objective is a terrain like this, at the end of the game, you don't have to have your gecko on that terrain, but the largest connected terrain, you're going to get 1 point for every third of a hex tile that's connected without being disrupted. So it's 2 different ways to kind of secret score that kind of compete against each other, which I love. It's a little bit of asymmetry there. And then the other objectives, it forces you to approach scoring from different perspectives. You're either trying to trap bugs. In my famous saying, I always say, play this game. If you get somebody that's got a analysis paralysis or AP, I'll say, when in doubt, just trap a bug. If you can't decide, just trap a bug. Trap a bug, get a physical meeple, add that to your supply. There's benefits. So I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. Or you're going to try to hit a terrain objective, or you're going to try to hit a bug objective to get the points, or you're trying to work towards your secret objective. So there's these different paths to score at the end of the game, which we really love. 72 premium bug meeples. These are gorgeous. I don't think anybody's complained about the meeples. I think, in fact, everyone's really focused on the meeples. They love them. But they're printed on both sides. So it's one side and the other side is printed as well. So double-sided printed meeples. It's not a sticker. It's actually printed. And right now we're talking with our supplier. We might even do a UV print on that, which will make it a little more rugged. However, we might lose some of the sharpness. So we might stick with the litho. I don't know. We're going to figure this out as we go. But either way, it's premium printed meeples for color. Then we have our geckos, which are colorblind friendly. So for instance, if you are have like a blue-green color blindness, but you really love playing green and your friend really likes playing blue, we've got you covered. And how we did that is, if you look at these 2 meeples, they look very similar. You simply play the other side. So this person would play the patterns, this person plays solids, or vice versa. They can go patterns, this guy can go solids. If they both do patterns, one's polka dots and one is little diamond shapes. So very easily you can determine whose color is which, and all the meeples except for the white and the black ones have that reversibility on them, so that even if you have like a different type of color blindness other than blue-green, we still got you covered. We didn't do yellow meeples, although yellow is my favorite player color. I love playing yellow every time I play a game. We didn't do yellow in this game because there's so much yellow in this game already that if you had your yellow meeples, we did this with one of our play tests, like earlier on when we were picking, like we had 3D printed geckos we were using. The yellow ones were lost. Like they just blended right into the board. So we didn't go with yellow, unfortunately, but we got the other main colors covered off. Rulebook, 8-page rulebook. Thank you to one of our backers already who just pointed out that we had the older book in it. So we've updated it. The newest possible rules you can now download right off our page. The solo rules are there as well. Chelsea, if you want to give a shot at trying the solo version, now you can get the solo rules off the digital file on our page. Inside lid printing. This is something that I've done ever since our second game. We're now at the end of this year, we'll be at 11 titles. So in market right now, we have 8. And 7 of those have inside lid printing. And this is just kind of our little trademark thing that we do with all games we launch, is I absolutely love to be able to take a lid off a box and look inside and see that there's something to look at, that there's an extra little kind of touch. To me, that's important, and that's why we do it. Linen finish on the box as well. We'll end up having spot UV on the box as well. So spot UV, probably this title plate, maybe the little moth that'll give a little touch of a reflection. And of course we do like the logo and little things. So there'll be some spot UV on it. But right now this is linen finish, and you could literally take it's almost like a texture where you can take like a damp cloth if you need to wipe it off, and you could. So you got that linen texture on the box. Component trays. These weren't in the reviewer copies, but they will be in the final game. These we have come with 2 trays, and they're reclosable. They're snap-on lids, so you can easily pull out the tray, pop the lid off, stick it on the table. You're ready to go. Likewise, you can take the other tray, pop the lid off. Everybody grab their color, pop the lid back on. Everything goes in the box. Transports very, very cleanly without having to worry about a lot of setup and little baggies and things like that. Table presence has been a big focus for us on this. As I said, linen finish, spot UV in the box, inside lid printing, linen finish cards. These cards are all linen finish right now. The hex tiles are thick, 4-color printed bug meeples, as we said, on both sides. Meeples are wood, color fallout blind friendly tokens, and the reclosable storage trays. So we did everything we can to make the maximum production value we could on this game. This game is premium from the get-go, and that's why when you see on the page it says no stretch goals, what we've even been guilty of doing in some of our first campaigns, we haven't done this now in about 3 campaigns, is you used to say, okay, what are some of the things I'm probably going to do anyways? And you would peel that out, and then you would slowly give it back as we reach certain objectives. The problem with that is really tough to plan. It adds time to your development. So instead of having a game like when the campaign closes saying, okay, we're good to go, let's go to print, give it a month for the pledge manager, and then go to print, you're having to retool things because now you're having to accommodate all these stretch goals you hadn't planned for, or maybe you did plan for. Likewise, you could overshoot them, then you have to come up with other stretch goals, or you undershoot them, and then you have to come up from a reason why you're going to do them anyways. So it just becomes more and more disingenuous, I find, some of the stretch goals out there. I know some people still love to do them, and that's their thing. But for us, I just want to have the best possible game I can make. And you will notice when you see the games that we make, we want them to be of the highest possible quality. And that means that I'm probably not going to make the most money on every copy, but that's okay. It's something I can put on a table and be proud of. And that's who we are as a company and what we represent. The why back us? We're a small publisher. I'm literally a company of one. This is a side hustle. It's not my full-time job, right? We do have an extended team of people that are very helpful. So we have, and I'll get into the team members later on, that help with like rule book editing, writing. On some of the other games, my brother is a design partner, so he's helping me with some of my designs and so forth. This particular one is my design, but he's co-designed a lot of our titles as well. So we have a broader kind of extended team of people like to help. We've got an army of people that do play testing and so forth to make sure, and they're brutally honest, which is great because it helps us do better. But ultimately, it's a company of one. And so you're supporting a small publisher, right? These kind of games can get to the table the more you support small publishers. Backers first, distribution second. I almost said this would never show up at retail, but that's tough to promise that. What I can promise is we're not thinking about retail until all the backers get their games. So unlike some other campaigns you might see where they'll sign with a localization partner and then the localization partner is literally distributing the game and it's showing up on shelf before you even get your Kickstarter copy. This has happened to me now on 4 different games, which I know how it feels as a backer. So I don't want to do that to my backers. For me, it is so important to make sure that, we do everything we can to make sure the backers are appreciated for helping us get there, right? Without you, I can't get there. So it's not in my best interest to then, as soon as we get this, the funding, then sidestep you and focus on retail. That's just not what we do. On Cities of Venus, we're not going to retail at all. So that game, if you're getting that game, if you weren't part of the campaign, you're either buying it from us direct, like maybe from our website, again, after all the backers get their copies, or at a convention. If we have some extra copies, we'll do it there, but we've got no go-to retail strategy. It's just not what we want. I don't want people bastardizing the price. I don't want retailers trying to undercut each other and things like this. It's not worth it. I'd rather just focus on the model we have. This game, because it's a gateway game, I'm hoping it's our version of an evergreen. At some point, sure, it'll probably go to retail. Not with any of the add-ons, all the little special little things that we're doing this campaign won't be part of a retail edition, and that retail edition isn't even going to be thought of until everyone's got their game. So that will be later on at some point. Most likely from us directly again. I really don't love selling games at a big discount to retailers to mark it up. It's just for the amount of retailers you get, it's not worth it. I'd rather take that time and energy and put it into just focusing on the backers. Exclusive components, as I said, we're only going to make what we need for this campaign. So it's not like I'm making a ton of extra plushies, and I'll get into the plushie in a second. We're going to make what we need plus probably 10% just to cover off late pledges, lost pledges, things like that. But I am not looking to inventory a bunch of add-ons that, we're going to be selling for the next couple of years. Like I want to minimize the amount of storage I have. So what we have will go out. We'll have a little bit left over for the just in cases, but we're not going to be like selling stuff actively. So if you want to get the add-ons, now is the time to get the add-ons. And back with confidence. We've had 5 prior projects. Actually, I think it's 6 that we've completed and filled. And we've always been on time or early. So we've never been late, ever. And I know that's unique in the industry. I back a lot of board games. And the games I back, I've got at least 6 that I'm waiting for that are late. I just received one the other day. Again, I'm not here to call anybody out, but it was 2 years late. That's, you know what? I've been early on every campaign or on time. So that's a moment of pride for us. And we're going to keep that track record going. All right, so let's talk about the game. If you want to download the rule book, you can click on this button and you can download it. Essentially, when you're playing the game, you're putting hex tiles together, you're matching patterns. Once you connect the pattern, you place your gecko on that pattern to span across those 2 tiles. That's also going to connect 2 bugs that are in the center of those tiles. You'll notice that the center of the one tile has a physical bug in it. It's like got a hollow hole in it, like this right here. That's a starting hex tile. That changes every game. So the person who's last in player turn order chooses what the starting bug is going to be. And that just gives them, because they're last in player turn order, it gives them an advantage and some agency to help you on par with maybe not being first in the player turn order. If you can completely surround your hex tiles, one hex tile with the other hex tiles, whoever has the most geckos now trying to get that bug or touching that tile wins the bug from the general supply that matches what's in that center of that tile. The person that places a tile breaks the ties. Obviously, they're going to choose themselves if they're the person that's tied, but if it could be a case where they place a tile and they're not even touching the hex that they've surrounded, they have to choose which of the other players gets that bug. Your terrain objectives, again, what you want to do is you want to try to simultaneously be on these patterns. So I've got 5 geckos. 4 of my geckos have to be on these 4 different patterns that match this card. As soon as I place the gecko my turn that does that, I take the card, I achieve it, I get the points that are at the bottom of the card. Again, 1 bug is 1 point. If you are doing a bug objective, as you can see here, you have bugs, you have geckos that are spanning tiles connecting 2 different bugs. And we've got 3 different types. There's some cards where you just have to touch the bugs. It doesn't matter where they are. Just as long as you're touching those bugs, you can achieve that card. We have other cards where it is parallel connections. So this bug has to connect to this one, and they have to have another gecko somewhere else touching this bug to this one to get that card. And then lastly, we have kind of a train or a series, or I call it a Z pattern, where this bug has to connect to this bug, which then has to then connect to this bug. So you got 2 geckos connecting 3 bugs, and in that specific order in order to get that card. Those ones are harder to get, but they're worth more points to justify. Secret terrain objectives, as I said, and you can see in this case here where it is this person has the water pattern. They add up, they take the largest connected area, and then for every third of a card, they get 1 point. If the pattern is connected to the starting hex tile, the starting hex tile actually has 6 patterns on it, so we count this as 1 point as well, if this is part of that connected pattern. If you have the bug secret objective, you get a bonus point for every physical meeple you have. So in this case, they have the ladybug. You would get 1 point for every physical meeple you have. Plus, at the bottom of all your objective cards, for every ladybug that shows up, you get 2 bonus points as well, like this card right here. You got the ladybug at the bottom, that'd be worth 2 additional bonus points. These 2 objectives are very well balanced, so whether you're going with one or the other, you kind of have an equal chance of scoring. It just depends on the path that you really want to take. Advanced scoring rules. This is how I play, and we love it this way. It gives a little just more thinkiness to the game. At the end of the game, if all the meeples that you've covered, that you've collected, and you have collected, if you can cover up all the 4 bug images on your card, like you see here, then the value of that card actually doubles. So in this case, this 3-point card would actually be worth 6 points if you're able to connect or cover it up with meeples that you have. Sounds easier than it actually is. It's actually quite difficult. In my case, usually 1 card. I'll average that way. If you can get 2 or 3 cards, you're a superstar. But just adds more kind of different kind of angle into the game. Another thing that's actually not on this page, but is a way to allow you to kind of reset a bit is if you at any point want to exchange one of your meeples. So you've trapped this bug, I've won this meeple, this is 1 point. If I'm willing to give that up and return it to the supply, I can draft 3 new hex tiles from the market, add them to my hand. Now I have 6. Choose which 3 I want to keep, return 3 to the bottom of the hex tile stack, and then I start my turn. And that's a way for you that, hey, I see an objective coming up. Sally's gunning for the same objective. I'm 1 card away. I don't happen to have it. You know what? That card's worth 4 points. I'm going to give up a point, and I'm going to take a chance I'm going to be able to draft a card that's going to help me get there and get that card before she does. So it's a good way of kind of adding more strategy to how you're playing the game, where you're giving up points in order to get more points and allow you to kind of accelerate how you're collecting those objectives. As soon as somebody achieves 6 objectives, that's the end of the game is triggered, and you finish with the player turn order. The game will end if you run out of any of the bug supply. This has never happened, but mathematically it's possible. I haven't heard of anybody ever doing this ever, but it's mathematically possible, so we put it in there. Or if you've drafted the last hex tile and not played it, but drafted the last hex tile, that triggers the end of the game and you finish your player turn order. Solo mode is awesome. I love it. It is very puzzly and thinky. And this is all about trying to, you have to get a fixed number of objectives of each type. So of the bug objectives and the terrain objectives, you have to collect a certain number of bugs. Your secret objective, you have to collect a certain number of your secret objective bugs. And once you achieve all those, then it goes into one of 3 bugs, and that's a pass-fail. So if you can't do that, you fail. If you pass, then there's a bronze, silver, superstar status you can achieve based on how you do your points. Superstar is literally having all of the objectives scored, like literally all of them. Mathematically possible. I've never done it. If you can do it, ping me. I'll high five you. We'll give you a mention on our page. It is insanely difficult, but hey, you would get the designation of superstar and well deserved. How to play? We've got. I think I'm going to refresh the page here. Hang on. Because we got Tabletop Tolson that we just recently added. Let me scroll back down here. Where is she? There. How to play. There we go. So how to play. I've got a video I've recorded myself, so you can kind of hear it from the horse's mouth. We've got Tabletop Tolson. Her video just went up today. Man, her production value is great, and her new setup now where she's able to kind of show close-up of the cards, a little bit like how Rado does it. Rado runs through where he has it's like some kind of blue screen table or something he puts his cards on, and it shows like a zoom up of what it is that he wants to show you. Tabletop Tolson's doing that now, and it's fantastic. She did a great job on this video, and so she's got a very good explainer of how to play this, and she actually goes through a couple rounds of explaining how to play the game. No Shelf Space did a great playthrough as well of kind of the rules and how to play. So there's 3 good videos to give you a handle on how to play if you don't want to read the rule book. I'm kind of guilty as charged. I hate reading rule books. I always watch videos. Then we get into our add-ons. So we have the plushie, and let me get this guy. So this is our Gecko plushie. Now I'm going to disclaim this a bit, that this is our prototype. It's been hand made. This has been hand stitched together. Haven't gone to full production. I'm making some more tweaks on this, but it's cute as hell, and I love the way he's turning out. So he's got these little legs. We made him look like the gecko on the box. Oh, sorry, here we are. There's Scando Girl. Hey, how's it going? And I want to make sure that he had 5 toes, because geckos have 5 toes. It's so cool if you look at a gecko's feet. Not only do they have almost like this weird kind of texture that allows them to climb up walls and stick to walls. But they have 5 toes where 2 go this way, 2 go that way, and there's kind of 1 back in the center. So we tried to emulate that with his feet. Got his little tail, which is cute. And of course his cute little face. We're going to make his eyes a little bit bigger. I want to make his eyes even bigger. But I love him. So there's a gecko. So we have the gecko as an add-on. This is exclusive. So we are only going to make 10% more than what people add on. So we're not, hey, Emily. So we're not planning on making a whole bunch of these and selling them. It's literally like we're going to order what we need plus 10%. So we have just in cases overage. And that's it. So for people that collect plushies, there's collectability here because we're only going to have so many. If we have 200 backers, then we'll make 220 plushies. That's all we'll have. So yeah, I think he's cute too. He's adorable. So that's the plushie. Let me go back to the page here. First player marker I talked about, but I'm going to show it again really quickly here. So this is, again, and give me your thoughts in the comments. Do you guys think that we should go with pins like this? So it actually anchors to your game bag, your shirt, your purse, satchel, whatever you want to attach it to. It doesn't come off. Or would you prefer to have it be magnetic like this, where you can use it as a first player marker, and then you have the magnet to attach it to your shirt. The magnet's strong. It will stay on a shirt. I'm just nervous about it falling off a game bag if somebody put it on their game bag. So put in the comments. Give me your thoughts. Do you think it is we should have it as pins, or should we have it as a magnet? We're going to take this as a poll probably tomorrow as well. We'll ask all the backers. But get your votes in now. I'd love to hear what you think. Put it in the comments. Bunny drops, which I know Endo Girl has been waiting for this. So we have the creator in the chat here of Bunny Drops, Megan Staley. She's my niece. I have a young face and a much older sister, so my niece is actually almost 40. So I know when people hear niece, they think like little kids, but she's actually a grown adult, and she's turned into quite the game designer. And this is her debut title. And we are going to have this as an add-on of this campaign. And it is super, super cute. And it's called Bunny Drops. And the idea of Bunny Drops is, and there's a video of how to play on our page here, so I encourage you to hit play on the video and watch how we play Bunny Drops. But you're trying to, it's got a similar kind of mechanic, like that kind of reverse card that you see in like Point Salad, where the cards, when they then go onto the board, they flip over and they turn into something else. So it's kind of that mechanic, but you're grabbing columns and rows, cat lady-ish, and essentially trying to grab rabbits and their food to feed them. You're getting points if you can fully feed your rabbits based on their diet. So for instance, if I take Winnie as an example, let me just move here. So say you're doing like Winnie. So say I collect this rabbit and I get the 3 food items that are on the table with her. If I can then, as I'm collecting food items, every time it comes to my turn, I'm grabbing another rabbit, I'm grabbing more food. If I can get those combinations to work out where she gets her 2 apples, 2 blueberries, and a carrot, she's completely fed. This is now worth 5 points. Get a point for every food item at the bottom. If by the end of the game, which is when we get to 6 rabbits that have been drafted, this game goes really, really quick. It's like a 15, 20-minute game. It's 2 to 6 players, so it's a great kind of warm-up game at the beginning of the night. Filler game while you're waiting for other games to finish. End of the night game. This is what we did actually last night. We had 15 minutes to burn, so we played Bunny Drops. But at the end of the game, you get points for every food item that you've at the bottom for every rabbit you fed. If you can't completely feed them their diet, they eat the food you've given them, but you lose 2 points. Also, as you're going along, you have the ability to pick up not just food items like apples, kale. And once we get production on this too, I'll make sure the reviewers, I'll send you guys all copies of this so you can check this out as well. Blueberries. But you might end up, just based on the mix, being stuck with having to pick up rabbit poop, rabbit droppings. Little tail. So if you get rabbit droppings, you lose a point per rabbit dropping that you pick up. Now, hey, Monopoly! Welcome, welcome, welcome. You lose a point for every rabbit dropping you pick up. But if you're able to grab a broom and dustpan instead of a rabbit, this allows you to sweep up, because you're a responsible owner, up to 3 drops. So those drops, instead of being negative points, are positive. So they can go towards your score. So you have a little bit of this decision to make where, do I grab the rabbit droppings with the hope that maybe I'm going to have the opportunity to grab a broom later on? Or do I take the chance and grab those? Maybe I don't get a broom now. I'm going to lose a point instead of gaining points. So it's got that dynamic going along. Oh, thank you for the comment. Emily just said, what a cute game. You also have this other thing at the end where if your rabbits all have different colors, and this artwork was done by Cesar Delgado as well. He did Hamsters vs. Hippos as well as Garden Geckos. But if the background of all your rabbits at the end are different, and we've got icons at the top, so they're colorblind friendly as well, then you score a bonus 3 points at the end of the game. Most games where your score is going to be somewhere between 10 and 21 points. Like the spread's not massive. So, these little bonuses that you're trying to, wiggle through actually matter. It's important. Because Megan is a bunny mom, I would say, and she has a bunch of rabbits. She had actually modeled a lot of these rabbits off of rabbits either that she owns or rabbits in her life. One of these rabbits is actually named after my daughter's late rabbit, Lily, and it looks like her. And this is one of Megan's rabbits right now, Stormy. So we modeled him after her rabbit. You see the little lightning bolt on his head. So there's a lot of personality in this game. Super, super cute. And it's just, again, a nice complement to this campaign, fitting in that same kind of genre where you have obviously a cute game. Deceptively simple is the word I would use. And Garden Gecko is very much like that too. You look at it and you're like, oh, I'm just placing down tiles. I'm dropping geckos down. And then 5 minutes in, you're like, oh my God, I better pay attention because this is getting really puzzly. And I got to make sure that I'm connecting this correctly versus that. And now that person's going to take this. And then all of a sudden you start getting into your head really quick. Bunny drops is like that as well. It starts off, you're like, oh, I'm just sweeping. I'm just grabbing rabbits. I'm just grabbing this. And all of a sudden it's like halfway and it's like, oh no, I'm going to be stuck with a lot of food and I'm going to take a bath on my points. I really got to think through logically which row or column I'm going to grab so that I can get the combinations right so that I'm going to score well. So just a blast. Absolutely love the game. Congratulations, Megan, on your design of this game. And I can't wait till this goes to production. This is it's been a long time coming. I know you've been working on it for a long time, and it's been played to death. And now we need to get in other people's hands. So I'm very excited about it. All right, so let's talk about. And again, I encourage you to watch the video because I do a video on how to play the game, and you can kind of see how the refill works. Shout out to Stephen Hill on this one as well. He's a colleague of ours who came up with kind of the refill mechanic. You're going to see where we've got a stack on the table and then how we refill the cards. It's one of those things where, as a designer, sometimes you can overcomplicate things very easily. And this is one of those cases where the way we had it refill was just way too complicated. And he was looking at it, he goes, guys, why don't you do this? He grabbed the cards and just did this quick little thing on the table. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so obvious that it's brilliant. And we changed it right away and it worked great. So kudos to him. I want to give him a shout out on that. That was a great contribution on his behalf. Pledge tiers. So the base pledge, okay, because I'm Canadian and this is done in Canada, everything shows up in Canadian dollars. So we do our best to approximate the US dollar pledges. But $60 Canadian is $45 US for the base pledge. That gives you the Garden Geckos game. If you want to do any add-on at all, you can get the base game and then just add the different add-ons that you want, go along a la carte. However, if you want all the add-ons, there's a lot of savings. You're going to save $5 on the items themselves, plus you're going to save an additional $10 in shipping. So there's $15 savings there. And if you back in the first 72 hours, you get the first player marker for free. That's another $10. So there's a lot of savings if you do the all-in bundle, especially in that first kind of day one pledge. But it's 120 Canadian, gives you the all-in bundle. That gives you Garden Geckos. It gives you bunny drops. It gives you the cute Mr. Gecko plushie. I gotta give him a name. I'll think of it tonight. Tomorrow he's gonna have a name, an official name. And maybe Mr. Gecko, who knows? And the Gecko pin. Emily's saying that we should do the magnet. That's one vote. If you have a vote, should we do magnet for the first player markers where the magnet goes on, it connects to your shirt. Again, lays flat on the table. Benefit, the downfall of that is if it's on a game bag, it might fall off because you have thicker material. Or do you go with pins, which positive is it's not coming off a game bag or satchel. However, it doesn't sit flat on the table. It doesn't work as nicely as a first player marker. So we're going to do a poll on that tomorrow. But if you're watching now in the comments, give us your vote. Love to hear what you think. Reviews, previews. man, I am humbled by just how kind and generous these reviewers have been. I've been blown away. We had, for me, it's important. I started doing this 2 campaigns ago, where we, instead of saying, hey, let's go pay a previewer to kind of make a video, which there's value in that. And I do appreciate preview people that make videos. I mean, they're well worth the money spent. But for me, I'd rather take that same money and get an actual copy of the game made, production copies. So we went and made like, 100 production copies of the game at the factory. So these are actual copies of the game, and sent those out to literally any reviewer that wanted to look at them. And what we get is what we get, right? And from prior campaigns, typically it's like 10% aren't going to be great. And what I mean by not great is they don't like the game. And in this case, it was unanimous. Everybody liked the game. I was surprised. I was waiting for that one where they didn't like it, but everyone liked the game, which was I was pleasantly surprised and incredibly thankful. It takes a lot of time for people to put videos together, and I don't know if necessarily all the backers realize that it's not like, I just flip on my camera, I just going to talk to the camera for a couple minutes, and then like that's the video. Like when a content creator creates a video, this is hours of work for the simplest looking video. They have to learn the game, they have to play the game, they have to script it, do the video, edit the video, do overlays, all that publishing. It's an immense amount of time invested, and we didn't pay anybody for this at all. So the fact that they were able to, make that investment, I couldn't thank you enough for and give you as much appreciation as I possibly can for the time that you guys invested into creating your videos. Thank you so much. Even for photography and doing posts on social media, like this all takes time. So thank you. We've put, I believe, most of them on here. If I missed some, I'm sorry. We got a lot of them, so I've been trying to slide them into the page as we get them. I think I might have a couple more to do, but and I try to spread them out between videos and then quotes. And then some of the quotes come after the videos if you just want to see, well, what did that person think? I do encourage you to watch the videos. The videos are all fairly balanced, where they'll give you the good, bad, and the ugly. They'll say, this is what we really like. This is maybe what we found challenging. This is something that some people might like. And that could be everything from, someone might say, I think Unfiltered Gamer, he's unfiltered. He said, you know what? Don't like the cover, but I like the game and the way it shows on the table. So don't worry about the cover, worry about the game. That's fair. That's his feedback. I found some people caution on analysis paralysis, where they might say, hey, Billy Indiana just joined. Welcome, Billy. Check out Billy's. We're going to get to Billy's video in a second, so that's timely. Again, great production value. Where they might find, if you have analysis paralysis, if you have a player that just has to overthink everything, they're going to drag this game down. And I can tell you that right now. I have a colleague that I avoid playing this game with. I just flat out won't play them this game. I don't think they even like the game because they can't just kind of casually play and strategize. They have to try to make every move perfect. And that's fine if that's their play style, but they're probably not a fit for a game like this. So I appreciate it when a reviewer says that and says, hey, you know what? Here's the different people that play different types of play styles out here. Here's where it's going to work well, and here's where it might not work well. So again, I encourage you to watch all these videos. Most of them will do kind of a how to play at the front end. So if you have a favorite content creator here, watch the front end to see how they explain how to play it. And almost all of them have at the back end, okay, here's our concluded thoughts. So you can decide where you want to jump in on those videos. So starting off with little big thumbs. Again, shout out to JP and team. As I said this morning while I was on the live, the production value, like, wow, has he ever stepped up his game in terms of his videos? Like, his videos have always been good, but they're like wow, good. So I encourage you to, everything from even this little thing they do with their thumbs at the beginning is hilarious. So I encourage you to watch the video. I've been following him for now 5 years, and it's great to kind of see the evolution of content creators. It's awesome. He said there's a lot of replayability. It's a gorgeous game. I think it's a theme you're going to hear a lot. People really like kind of how this looks on the table and how it plays, and you know the elements and the pieces. We have tabletop for the world games. They're based out of Europe. They say it has very simple rules, but a lot to think about while playing. They enjoyed the balance of that a lot. So that's what they really focus on in their review, is how there's a lot of decisions, but how we balance those decisions, where if you're going to take this path, you're going to take this path, it still works, right? So there's multiple ways to get to that end scoring condition. And that's what people like about it, is that you don't necessarily have to take one path. You can take this path, take that path, or a combination of them all. Chits and Cardboard. This is a local content creator, not too far from here, about 30 minutes from where I live in Ontario, just outside of Barrie, in a town called, I think they're actually in Everett. I can promise it's a heck of a lot of fun. The Board Game Rundown, these guys, I was on their podcast after they had done this review, and it was like a 5-hour long podcast. It was crazy. Check it out. We just talked about the industry at all as a whole. We talked about our favorite games to bring to like meetups and to like public game nights where we're gonna have different play styles and maybe new players that have never gamed before, and kind of, you know, existing players, and what are kind of the good games to have that kind of fit everyone's style. And because I run a local meetup myself, and it was a good chat, and we talked a little bit about Garden Geckos on there as well. And so their team played it. They loved it. And these guys are not afraid to say if they don't love a game. One of my prior titles, one of their team members absolutely hated it. so having all four of them like this one was a great honor. So thank you very much, guys. They said this game was freaking fantastic. Board Game Hype, Devin Metlin. Everyone knows him from his trademark colored glasses. Said definitely a game he enjoyed and would play it again. We have Inspired to Game, Lola and Sean. They're based out of Canada as well. They are, I think, in Winnipeg or Calgary. I got to look this up. Western Canada somewhere. They said it was light, friendly, just a delight to play. Favorite Foe, again, European. Area Majority Element is a great twist on the usual territory matching challenge. We have Jason from the Board Game Mechanics. I've had him look at a number of my games, and he gets into kind of the meat of for the mechanics. That's on brand, right? The mechanics of the game. And he enjoyed this one. He said, if you like tile placement, you're going to love it. If you really like cute little wooden pieces, you're absolutely going to love it. We had Board Games After Dark. Chelsea, I'm not sure if Chelsea's still in. She joined us earlier. Garden Geckos is a game you can't help but smile at when playing. That's quite frankly what we're going for. There's no secret why we have these rays of sunshine on the box and on the table, and you know, just bringing kind of this light energy and positive energy is what we wanted to bring in the design of this game. Board Game Museum. Overall, this is a good tile laying game. Very easy to learn. That's Norm Hastings. He's got a great channel. Check his out. Again, someone that gives you your medicine straight up, which I absolutely love. We have Punchable Games, again, European. Bo. It's adorable and crunchy at the same time. The production quality is outstanding. I love this quote because it really encapsulates what we are trying to do. I wanted to have a very visually compelling game. Simple rules overhead, so something you can teach somebody in literally 5 minutes. And that's kind of what we try to do with all of our games. Is one of the tenets of our company is I want to have games where you can teach in 5 minutes or less. And play in an hour or less. And certainly that's what we're going for here. But we want to have that kind of deceptively simple crunchiness kind of built in. I'm glad they picked up on that. We have the Let's Table It family. This is a great little video where you got mom, dad, and their kids actually talking about the game. They mentioned in their video that they have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. The 10-year-old, they said, no problem at all. 8-year-old needed some help. It is a game where you can strip back some of the rules to make it more accessible to younger players if you want. But because there's so many small, tiny components, we have a 14 plus on this box. So if you are going to play with younger kids, parental, I appreciate you having parents present so they're not sticking things in their mouth. I have kids of my own. They're older now, but when they're younger, man, I was constantly on the lookout for them choking on a game piece. So certainly it's 14 plus on this game. We've got Games with Ben. This is a very strategic game with lots of tough choices. I agree. Got our friends Tabletop Vibes. Again, they had fun with the game. They thought it was beautiful. Again, this is a theme that we keep seeing over and over again. We have the Nerd Squirrel. Overall, loved Garden Geckos. Really easy pickup, runs well, and is cute as a button. Billy Indiana, William Webb. I'm not sure if you're still in the Instagram feed, but give us a thumb up if you are. Check out Billy's channel. Good gosh, I said this morning, but I'm going to repeat myself, especially because Billy's here. His video quality is just spectacular. We're going to have a side chat on exactly, I want to see the behind the scenes of his setup. Audio quality is great. Video quality is great. Lighting is impeccable. Background is well done. And then what I was saying this morning as well is what I really appreciate about Billy is how well he articulates the essence of what the game is about, right? So he can talk very eloquently about not only the mechanics of the game, how it plays, who it plays for, what some people might love and what some people might want to watch out for. So check out his channel. He did an amazing job. Emily in the chat saying her 8-year-old liked it, but needed some help to choose where to place the Geckos. Exactly. Much younger players, you're going to need help. My play style when I play, even at game night, I'm kind of that type of a player that, my famous saying is we're not curing cancer. Like when someone's like, oh, can I take that move back? Sure, who cares? Take it back. I don't care. We're just having fun. We're socializing. We're playing games. I don't think too hard and seriously about games. So if I'm playing this game with someone and, Billy isn't. Oh, no problem, Billy. Well-deserved, my friend. If someone is playing a game with me and I see a move that could help them, I'll point it out. I'll say, hey, I saw you put the gecko there before you place a tile. You sure you want to do that? Because if you have another tile over here that might let you collect this goal over here, I'm totally cool with saying that. Because I want people to have fun when they're playing games. And whether it's this game or literally any game, for me, it's how do we make sure everyone has the best possible experience at the table. That's what I go for. So Billy's comment was the components were amazing. He was impressed with the game. Going down to no shelf space. That was one of the how to plays up front. Welcome PJ Mac, just joined us. Garden Geckos is easy to learn, provides an incredibly deep decision space, yet maintains accessibility for almost anybody. I agree. We have our Don't Be Bored with our friend Ollie. This is from the UK. You got to give it props because it really does look good on the table. 100% what we were going for. Really enjoy this game. Like that is easy to learn, teach, and play. This is Bernadette and Matt. Table Talk. Unfiltered Gamer, who again I said earlier, is unfiltered. You get what you get. So my caution to anybody sending a game to these guys, you're sending it blind, right? You are gonna get what you get. They have a massive audience, but that's what I appreciate about these guys is that I actually learn something when I watch their videos. There's been times in prior games that we've done where they review it and they'll say something and I'll be like, "That's fair. That's fair." And then we'll make a tweak on our end before we go to final production. So absolutely love the video. It's clear he gets it when he talks about it. Again, he had a quote that we had on here. I saved it. It will not save his quote. I'm going to try it again this afternoon to add it. We used to have a quote underneath here. Lastly, we've got Selwyn Ward, Board's Eye View, the wooden gecko components. Huge appeal to this game's table appeal. Totally agree. I'm going to show you a picture that they have. We're going to get into content creator images here in a second. Each of these content creator images, if you click on them, it will take you to their content creator page. So I encourage you to check out each of those content creators. These are images that I requested that I saw their posts. I'm like, hey, that's a great picture. Do you mind if I put it on our page? We'll make sure we give you credit and we'll watermark you. But I want to acknowledge some of these pictures from these content creators. And each of these pictures, you'll see their watermark. Click on it. It'll take you to the page. When we get to Board's Eye View, do me a favor, click on their image. It'll take you to their website. They've got this smoking hot concept where they put this 3D camera in the middle of the table when they do a photo of a game. And on their page, you can use your mouse and you can literally three-dimensionally walk around the board while it's on the table. It is crazy slick. It looks awesome. Check it out. It's called Board's Eye View. All right, content creator images. This one is from Emily, or Malie is the content channel. I just love the apple blossoms that she chose to put around the box. Little big thumbs. This one I liked because that showed the terrain card, kind of highlighting that as the focal point. Meeple Mike is another Canadian. You can tell he likes meeples. So I took his meeple focus shot and we showed that here. I can never pronounce this one, but it's Het Spel Jets Kopel. I believe they are German or Dutch. I just like the simplicity and elegance of this image. This is one of the first ones I saw, and I'm like, when I came up with the idea of actually, hey, why don't we highlight the content creators' components? Oh, we got a comment here. PJ Max saying, components for me as a content creator and board game collector really do make the game after game. Yeah, I agree. This is something, as a little side note, why we started doing actual production copies is, for me, it's much easier to put kind of the ugly parts to the side and focus on the actual game itself. And what I mean by that is, even when I'm doing like play testing of games where I have a prototype, I'll use the Game Crafter or Print and Play. I'll have colleagues help 3D print components and so forth. I will try to make a game as visual as possible, even during the prototyping and playtesting phase, so that people can immerse themselves in the idea of the game and not get caught up in kind of the roughness of a prototype. And again, that's no knock on, sometimes that's all people have the ability to do. So you got to work with what you got. But for me, I try to get it as slick as possible so that we can get to the game, the mechanics, and the story, and not focus as much on, whether the theme is fully worked out or whatever in terms of like cutting out papers and so forth. Billy's saying, hope to play a game with the family tonight. It's easy to teach and understand, but has a lot of tough decisions along the way. It's a great puzzle that stretches your brain, still feel relaxing. I've also, Billy, if you go on our page and download the rule book, the digital rule book, I've updated it with the solo rules. So if you want to give the solo rules a shot, give them a shot. Again, we're open to tweaking if you don't love them, but I'd love to get your opinion. Same with Emily. If you want to try the solo, I'd love to get your thoughts. For me, it's hard. Check it out. It's available on our page. All right, Board Games After Dark. I love this one because it gives you just the full kind of, if you're getting right down at table level, what's this game looking like when it starts to progress and you get to later stages of the game. It's a smorgasbord of terrain and geckos. One of the content creators actually nailed it on the head, and I'm glad they picked it up. They said, try not to get caught up in the patterns that are on the table, because as the game progresses, really only the edges of the board become relevant, because as you've placed your fifth gecko, every gecko you place after that, you have to move a previously placed gecko, and you have to move it onto a tile you're placing. So as this board grows outward on all directions, the geckos are moving out as well. And really, those are the ones that are going to become relevant in terms of trapping bugs and reaching your different objectives and so forth. So it is just a feast for the eyes is what we're looking for. Again, another shot. The Ladybug Meeple is my favorite one, followed by the Fruit Fly. I just love it. This one here, I just absolutely love this meeple. So that's why I picked a shot from Chits and Cardboard. Is it focused on my favorite meeple? That's the Fruit Fly. It's funny. We had a different fly image we were using, and I had a buddy saying, this has got an ick factor. Like, this kind of icky, the fly you've used. Maybe we should adjust the artwork. And he made a good point. I went back and I'm like, of all the bugs we had, they were all this kind of like stylized image of a bug, except for that one looked a little too close to a fly, and it looked icky. So we went with more of this fruit fly with the big googly eyes, and it fit the style a lot better. So I'm glad we made that change. It's now my second favorite meeple. The next one, Boards Eye View. This was talking about. Click on this image. Do me a favor. Check out their page. My God, it's awesome. It is just super awesome. Choco Games or Chalk Games. Also, I think they're called Violet 10. I just love this one because of the colors. I like how the meeple's on the green background. I just like the aesthetic of the image. So that's why I asked them, hey, can we use this one on our page? Tabletop for World. This one I liked because they honed into the fact that the back of the secret objective cards is actually the image that we use on our meeples. So like this is the same image that's cut out in the shape of our meeples. And they highlight that very well in this imagery. They have all the different meeples across the cards, which is super cool. This one here is loved how the geckos are kind of honing in, trying to eat that, fighting over that mealworm. Again, I just love the way they designed this. This is the Mad Board Gamer. He did a great job. Kudos to our team. So, of course, myself, James Staley, or my friends call me Jay. Call me whatever you want, as long as you call me. I'm the owner of Tin Robot Games. I'm also the designer on this specific title. I designed this one in Tanks But No Thanks in our portfolio. Again, our portfolio has, by the end of this year, will be 11 games. So of the 9 games in between, they're all co-developed either with my brother or other people that we've signed on to our portfolio. But this one, it's kind of funny. The very first game that started this whole journey was Tanks and No Thanks, which is a game I made like 30 years ago. And to come full circle to now have this be my next solo design that I did myself, it's a cool feeling. And I'm very happy with how it turned out. And again, super appreciative of the response we've had from everybody on this so far. Right now, we're sitting at $18,644 in funding. I'm very happy with that number. This is funding way higher than I thought it was going to be at this point. 274 backers. So thank you to everyone that's backed this game. Again, don't forget you do get your first player marker for free. This is a $10 add-on, Canadian dollars, $7 US, after 72 hours. But if you back and lock in your pledge in the first 72 hours, and you have to pledge a game, not just a dollar pledge, you'll get that for free. So back to the team. I'm also the Board Game Binge host of the Board Game Binge podcast. It's a podcast we've been doing now for about 4 years. We just finished our 288th episode that just went live today. We recorded it yesterday with Launch Boom. Now, Launch Boom actually didn't help us on this campaign, but I had seen Launch Boom really be associated with a lot of big campaigns. And quite frankly, a lot of people that we had recently interviewed had used Launch Boom. So we had, I can't remember the names. They're called, the one we had last week, it was Catapults and something. I'll get the name later. My brain's fried. We had Biome was Launch Boom. You look at Kelp, that was Launch Boom. They've done a lot of big titles, and they've got a very cool platform on helping especially new developers, new people getting in for their first time into this industry and doing a Kickstarter campaign. They have a great system. So I wanted to interview the owner or the CEO of that company, which I did, as well as the person on their team that's kind of helped them migrate into the board game space, because they start off in tech Kickstarters. And it was a great interview. It actually went longer than we usually do. Our format's 30 minutes. So our format's designed to be, well, you commute, right? While you're on your way to work, right? Right now, if you go wherever you download your favorite podcast right now, type in Board Game Binge, we will pop up. And while you're getting ready tomorrow, taking a shower, getting ready for work, maybe on the way to work, you can get through an entire episode. And those episodes, we focus on the people in the industry. So it's not about getting deep on mechanics on games and things like that. It's about people's stories. That's what I'm interested in is, I hear someone's name that's created a game, Jamie Stagmeyer or Jim Hudson, Connor McGoey, Inside Up Games. Often people will know about games. So if I say Earth, most people know the game Earth, right? If I say Inside Up Games, you might know Inside Up Games because they're the ones who create Earth. If I say Connor McGoey, even less people probably know that name, and he's the founder of Inside Up Games. He's the owner of that company. So I want to get to those people to understand their story, right? In a very short, condensed format. How did they get in the industry? What were their motivations? It's kind of weird launching board games, to be honest. It's a weird thing, right? I'm part of that club. When I talk to people not in the industry, they look at me like I'm a weirdo because I'm into board games, and I say I'm creating board games. They're like, you mean like Monopoly? I'm like, no, not like Monopoly. It's a whole industry, and so it's cool. And anyway, so we get into people's stories. Check it out, Board Game Binge podcast. I promise you, there's something in there for everyone. 288 episodes. I'm sure you're gonna find an episode that you like. Then we have Cesar Delgado. He's the artist on Garden Geckos. He's the artist on Bunny Drops. Again, these cute little bunnies. And he's also the Hamsters vs. Hippos. He was the artist on that game as well. So I was very happy that he agreed to do the art for this game as well. Megan, as I said, my niece, she's the designer of Bunny Drops. Also, she's a bunny mom. She's got a lot of rabbits. Andrew Gilpin from Gilpin Games. Huge high five to him. Good buddy of mine. Very, very smart individual. As well as Sarah Pippi, who's also a very, very smart individual when it comes to how to communicate things in writing. which they are way better at than I am. So as a team, these two individuals I've tapped for now 2 games where they've kind of come in and really polished what I put my verbal diarrhea down on the paper, and then they help polish that and put it into a coherent messaging. They're really, really good, and they've really upped my game. Like my rule books are way better than they used to be based on what they've brought to the table. So I couldn't be happier to have them on the team. As I said, Board Game Binge Podcast, check it out. Backer Kit, that is our pledge manager. It is also the marketing company that we're using. You might have seen a lot of our ads going into this campaign. This was, I'm live, but hey, how's it going? It's the marketing team that we use to get the word out on this game. And I would encourage anybody that is launching a campaign, check out Backer Kit, specifically their tools for starting off the campaign. So they call it Backer Kit Launch. And Backer Kit Launch, it's free service. All these tools teach you all these different things. If you spend $100, then they allow you to use their system, which acts as like MailChimp, and that can use it to e-blast. Less chance of people going to unsubscribe when they're doing their emails. Kick Tracks, I don't know. I'm going to check now if we are still trending. We were actually trending number 1 on Kick Tracks this morning on their hot list, which I thought was crazy. But it was true. So we'll let that load up and we'll see where that lands. And the hot list is frozen. All right, Kick Tracks is frozen, but we'll see. Hopefully we're still trending on Kick Tracks. If you hit the Kick Tracks button, it'll help us with our algorithms and continue to stay on top of that list. It's not as important today. We launched today, so obviously I think you have a better chance of hitting the top 10 on launch day. If we stay there over time, I think that'll be telling on the trajectory we'll have going into this campaign. And then we've got our socials. I encourage you to check out any of our socials. We have Tin Robot Games. We've got Facebook. We got Instagram, TikTok, and Discord. Please give us a follow on each of these. Really appreciate the counts. It helps with our algorithms. Content creators, you all know this. It is key. Regarding Geckos on Board Game Geek, check it out. We've got a lot of reviews on there as well. We've got people who've played the game, their ratings. Helps with our algorithms. Even if you go on there and just say, I want this game, there's a button you can click. And it just helps us with, again, helping us rank on that. We got a lot of pledges coming in, so I'm just going to do a quick little update here. We're like 1 pledge away from 19,000. Wow, bananas. All right, so we're funding quite well. And then our shipping zones at the end of the bottom of the page, we collect our shipping in the pledge manager. Again, Kickstarter is just not clean yet how they collect shipping, so we use a pledge manager that allows us to do add-ons. What we sometimes do during our add-ons with our pledge manager is for certain regions, if we have extra stock of other games, like so for instance, take Hamsters vs. Hippos or Planting Evidence or one of our other games, if we have some stock in the US, Backer Kit allows us to offer just that add-on to a specific market. No one else can see it except for that market. So it's a great tool. Again, Backer Kit is just amazing. Custom-friendly shipping, so you don't have to pay duties when they show up at the door, give you your game. You're not paying extra fees to get your game. You just hand you the game because we send it direct duty paid. Specifications on our again, a little disclaimer. What you see is the game as it is right now. Of course, there's going to be some tweaks. Bunny Drops alone will have an insert. The inside of the Bunny Drops box is going to have an image, right? So we'll have inside lid printing. Guardian Geckos, we're going to do spot UV in the box. We're going to add the thermoform trays. So things tweak slightly as we go into production, almost always for the best, right? It's always to improve what we have. And if, again, I talked about this morning, but if you look at Cities of Venus, that game, we made a change during the pledge manager. I was at Essen in Germany, and I came across this really cool box format that kind of opened like a gift box, and then the inside lid popped open, and it had artwork and graphics, and it was nice and thick and hardy, and it just looks super cool. And Adam, I showed Adam this box, and he looked at it. He's like, "We totally got to do that." I said, "Yeah, but we've already collected the funds. Like the funds are collected, right? So we're in. What do? we took some of the funds that we had collected and cut into our profits and said, you know what, we're going to improve this box. We can make it even better. We can make it even cooler. So that's what we ended up doing. Announced to our backers, and we said, hey guys, by the way, we're not actually, you don't have to pay extra for this. We're just going to do this because it's the right thing to do, and it's going to make the game that much better. And we did it. And will we do that on Garden Geckos and Bunny Drops? Probably. There's going to be something I'm going to come across between now and when we do production, where I'm just going to make the decision that it's probably going to cost me a little bit extra to do it, but I'm just going to do it because it's going to make it that much better for you, the backer, and what we deliver to you. So lastly, what I don't want to kind of pass by, but is important, is that the art and the graphics are made by humans on this game. So I know there's a lot of camps right now in the industry around the use of AI, and AI is used in literally every aspect of our lives now. Grammarly, most people use Grammarly to check their emails. Does that use AI? Yes, it does. ChatGPT is being used more often for people trying to figure out copy or coming up with copy ideas or social media posts. And even in board games, you're starting to see Midjourney being used as art in some games. We've used it in prototypes. We've used it in at least one game that we create a small run straight to retail for a test market. So I'm not here to necessarily crap on AI. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But what I'm trying to show is, as a company, we do use balance. And wherever we can, we do use humans. In this game, so in Garden Geckos and Bunny Drops, everything you see on this Kickstarter page, it's all been by humans. So the artwork, again, as I said, is Cesar Delgada. He did Hamsters vs. Hippos, Bunny Drops, and Garden Geckos. Graphic design, I'm not saying I'm good at graphic design, but I get by. And so I did the graphic design on Garden Geckos and on Bunny Drops. And I always have, anytime I show my games to someone who actually does graphic design for a living, they'll always point out something. We're like, oh, you should have done this or you should have done that. I get it. But for me, if I can do it myself, then that's that much more value I can add to the backers in terms of being able to do other things like meeples, right? Like, this was costly to do this versus just a colored bug that's shaped, a colored token that's shaped like a bug, or one color print. It is immensely more expensive to do a 4-color print on both sides of a meeple like this. I did that because I can save in other areas. For example, do the graphic design myself, right? So that's one area I can save. I use Kickstarter for doing my ads, or not Kickstarter, using say BackerKit launch to do the ads going in. But I do some of the ads myself. Our video, instead of going and hiring a video company, and there's a lot of great ones out there, and I can name, Mesa Game Labs, David Diaz, amazing work. I always give him props because his videos are stunning. Ori Kagan from Kagan Productions, again, videos are stunning, but it's not cheap. Right. And so what I'll do is I'll take, instead of put my money into that, I take my money and I put it into components. And then for my video, I'll use my cell phone and I'll shoot as much of the table shots as I can from those production copies I'm using. And then I'll clip it together and do, the editing I do to create a video, put a music track on it and do the narration myself. And for me, it hasn't necessarily held me back. I don't know if I did kind of one of those large kind of $5,000 videos, if that give me more backers, I'm not really sure. But I think things like having components look amazing probably bring in more backers than me doing a video, I think, anyway. So that's the decision I make. So those are the areas where I cut in order to try to put it back into the game. So that's a campaign, guys. That's Garden Geckos. I am going to sign off. We're at 19,280 backers. My oldest daughter tonight is actually doing a dance recital, so I'm going to go check that out. So I have to leave imminently. That's why I had somebody come to check in earlier, just saying, what are you still doing in front of the computer? But I want to, again, thank you so much for all your support. Man, I am humbled by where we're at right now. We are way further ahead than I expected we would be at this point. So thank you. All the content creators, thank you so much for all the hard work you put into this. Again, hours upon hours creating content to highlight my game, right? And I didn't have to pay you for it, right? You guys just did it because you wanted to create content and you thought it was a cool game that you wanted to highlight. So thank you so much for that. And your honesty in all that you've provided in your comments and feedbacks and so forth as well. So again, thank you so much. If you back the game, thank you so much. If you're watching this and you haven't checked out the campaign, please check it out. If you have trouble finding it on Kickstarter, you can also go to Garden Gecko Game. So Garden Gecko is Garden Gecko's Game, gardengeckosgame.com. That'll redirect you to the Kickstarter page. If you go to KickTracks, so kick and then TRAQ.com, we're trending at the top of that list as well. That'll also take you to our Kickstarter page. So thank you so much again, guys. And for now, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to jump back on. Probably tomorrow we'll do another live, and we'll see where we're at that point. And we're going to continue on with our poll on, do we do magnets or do we do pins on the first player market? Anyway, guys, take care. Cheers. This has been an episode of the Board Game Binge podcast, hosted by James Staley, produced by James Staley and Mike Bruner, with original music by Nick Smith. If you would like to watch these interviews live, simply subscribe to our YouTube channel, Board Game Binge, and you'll get access to live interviews, giveaways, and interesting board game content from across the industry. I can't wait for you to join us. See you next time.